Hi, I just wanted to do a short summary of our revival prayer hour that we had this morning at World Prayer Centre. So we meet at 9:30 for an hour every Wednesday morning. We pray into different issues, and we heard today about farming and food security. So you might be asking, what's food security? So that's having access and also stability to sufficient, safe and nutritious food. And it was amazing what we heard. We had a farmer on who came and spoke, and I just felt it would be really good to share the need to really pray for our farming here in the UK. So at the moment, there have been no EU subsidies anymore since we came out of Europe. And the only government subsidies that farmers can get are to rewild. So what that means is it's more environmental stewardship. So what it is it's using land that could grow food and actually turning it back into nature, which is great. However, it's less land to grow food on. So it's very much land grabbing to meet the net zero targets that we have as a nation. There'll be less land. Prices here for food are relatively low, and there are also a lot of restrictions on growing food and having animals. So in terms of pesticides and those sorts of things, and there's still a really high demand for importing food from Europe and other areas. And what you find is the standards of some of those foods are below the standards that we have to meet here. I don't know about you, sometimes I buy things from the supermarket and they might look nice, and then you taste them and they've got no taste. And so there's still that high demand to import food. People aren't kind of wanting to spend a little bit more and buy things that are grown locally or in the UK. So what that means is that we're very, very vulnerable to food shortages. So, for instance, if there was a major crisis, let's say, for example, a war, and we couldn't get food from Europe or anywhere else, where's the food coming from? So, it was quite sober to hear that the food would probably last us about a week. And even in supermarkets, it's 2-3 days. So we need to start growing our own food, guys. And not relying on overseas. Another thing that was mentioned as well was to do with dairy farmers, and the price of milk is plummeting. So they're producing milk from their herds, but actually the price is lower than what they can produce it. So dairy farmers are actually throwing milk away rather than it being sat around because they can't sell it. So that's quite sad to hear that. It's such a waste. And then other issues are to do with animal health, with herds. TB is still around. So really praying into that, because obviously, if they get TB, then they sometimes have to kill the whole herd, which is a massive loss of cost and finance. And then there's ongoing issues with the inheritance tax, which there's been a little bit of leeway, but it still favours married people over single farmers. And also, it's sad to hear a lot of farmers have been feeling suicidal because of the situation, and being unable to make ends meet with their farms. So just wanted to update you. we need to pray for our farmers and for the farming community and for the government to open their eyes and really see, you know, what is happening. And yeah, so let's pray.